Welcome to the JS Self Care Mind, Body, and Soul podcast, a weekly conversation about self care, personal development, and all the small decisions we can make to become the best possible versions of ourselves. I am your host, Janelle. I am a social worker and a self care life coach based out of New York. For more information, visit my website at jsselfcare.org. While I hope you love listening to and learning from this podcast, it's not meant to be a substitute for mental health treatment. I want to welcome my new listeners and also I want to welcome my returning listeners. If you can please share this episode because there's someone in this world who needs to listen to this episode. Thank you for making JS Self Care part of your weekly routine. I truly appreciate you. Today's topic is the self love blueprint. Different ways that you can love yourself. Before anybody can love you, you have to love yourself first. Some of us may have heard this saying a million times, but guess what? It's true. We can't expect others to love us when we don't love ourselves. We cannot expect to be loved in a certain way if we are not loving ourselves in the way we want to be loved. Self love is mandatory and needed. So, what does it mean to love yourself? And how do we actually love ourselves? For some reason, some of us find it much easier to love others than to love ourselves. Sometimes we are quite awful to ourselves. We also tend to be harsh critics to ourselves. Boy, can we put ourselves down in a not so loving way. We tend to subject ourselves to unhealthy relationships, toxic substances, and sometimes self mutilation. It's easy to dwell on your own perceived adequacies, regardless of the reasons for your lack of self love. It's time to start caring for yourself in a self caring way. It's time to treat yourself with the love you deserve instead of being selfish to yourself, as many may fear. Because they want to love everyone else before they love themselves. This is a self love topic. It's going to be your blueprint to show others how to love and care for you the way you love and care for yourself. I put together some ways you can love yourself. Many of them are simple and very easy. Some you may be doing already, and some of them are harder. But with a coaching session, you will learn how to implement them when you are showing you how much you love you. You will also find that some of the ways to love yourself may overlap and work nicely together. You don't have to use all of my ideas. The goal is for you to use the ones that resonate with you. So let's get started on different ways you can show you how much you love you. Acknowledge that you are struggling. I know some of you are saying, what? Acknowledge that you are struggling? Something to do with loving yourself? How can that be? Guess what? Acknowledge that you are struggling is most definitely a way you can show yourself how much you love yourself. Absolutely, we all have struggled at some point in our lives. And the best way to show you that you love yourself is to acknowledge that you are struggling and you might need some help. It is absolutely okay to struggle, but what's not okay is when you struggle in silence. Some of us have struggled with life stresses. Some of us have even struggled with paying our bills or even putting food on the table. Hey, how many of us struggle with our teenage children? I know I have, especially when I'm battling technology, something I didn't use when I was younger. Life in general is a struggle. Believe it or not, the richest people struggle. People who are privileged have struggled. But when you are practicing self love, you have to be able to acknowledge that you are struggling. When you say, hey, I am struggling, is when you can come up with some sort of a solution that can help you find your way out of the struggle. I am aware that there might be some people struggling with their mental state, such as anxiety, depression, PTSD, racial trauma, bipolar disorder, or any other mental state, admit the struggle and contact JS Self Care or any behavioral health treatment facility. Self care and self love is so important, and we need to put ourselves first. Acknowledge you are struggling with whatever it is you're struggling with. Life is a struggle, and if we can acknowledge the struggle, we can find the solution. If you are struggling, I want you to admit you are struggling right now while you are listening to this podcast episode. Know who you are. It's quite impossible to love yourself if you don't know who you're loving and who you are. Invest in discovering who you are. What are your beliefs and values? Know what you like about yourself and know what you don't like about yourself. If there's something you don't like about yourself, work on changing it. Try to get to know who you are. Knowing who you are can be done in a few ways through mirror work, by revisiting your childhood. If you feel you are struggling with knowing who you are, schedule a coaching session with me or schedule a session with someone who resonates with you. The most important thing is to know who you are. Accept that you are imperfect and know that being imperfect is normal. I said it. Being imperfect is fucking normal. There is no perfect person in this world. If you happen to know a perfect person, please introduce them to me. Thanks in advance. Part of loving yourself is accepting all of your imperfections. Say this out loud. I am imperfect and I know it. I am imperfect and I know it. If you want, you can also say this in the mirror. I am imperfect and I know it. Since we know we are not perfect and no one in this world is perfect, I need you to say, I am a work in progress. If you feel you are perfect and life is great, boy, oh boy, you have a lot of work to do. Guess what? Our imperfections actually make us who we are. Did you know that? If not, now you know. I need you all to stop trying to be perfect because you will literally drive yourself crazy, insane. Let it go. One of my imperfections is my big old gut. I say to myself and others all the time, I just had a baby. What do you expect? In all reality, I had a baby 16 years ago. Go figure. Guess what? I'm not doing anything about having a stomach. I don't eat right all the time. I don't exercise all the time either. So I guess I can say I am imperfect with my weight. Some may have heard, take me as I am, flaws and all. If you can say that, then you are embracing and accepting all of your imperfections. Now I have to play a little devil's advocate. Guess what? If you don't like your imperfections, you can change them. But I have to ask you, are you changing them for you or someone else? The reason I ask is because we need to be clear that change has to come because you want to change it. If you embrace your imperfections, why would you want to change? Remember, you are not perfect. Don't shoot for self perfection for others. Cut yourself some slack and embrace your humanness. Imperfections are what makes you you. I know I have said this next one a few times on my podcast, but you're going to hear it a few more times as I continue my journey to self care and as you continue your journey to self care. The next one is set boundaries. Boundaries is an essential, like wearing masks, like drinking water, essential. Boundaries is a form of self care and self love. By setting boundaries, you let others know that you will only accept, respect, and if someone disrespects you, You will execute a consequence they don't want to experience. A great boundary is saying no with no explanations. Will you go to the store? No. Not will you go to the store? No, I can't today. No explanation. Set boundaries no matter what the relationship is. It could be a friendship, a relationship, a family ship. Make sure that you set those boundaries. Our next one is give yourself compliments, something we expect from others. But you know what? If you are loving yourself, I want you to give yourself some compliments. Give yourself some compliments. And yes, I said it. We all like compliments, but some of us are waiting for others to give us compliments. The self loving thing to do is stop waiting on validation from others. You don't need to be validated by others all the time. Fuck all that. Give your own self some damn compliments. Look in the mirror and say, "You are beautiful. You look nice today. That haircut looks really good on you. That tie fits your skin tone. Girl, you are wearing the hell out of them braids." Say to yourself, "You are one smart cookie." Say, "You are one dope person." By giving yourself compliments and showing you how much you love yourself, shows you that you don't need others to compliment you. You could do it your damn self. If and when someone else gives you a compliment, that will be considered added compliments because you already told yourself how dope you are. I need everyone listening to this podcast to stop thinking you need someone else to tell you how fucking amazing you are, how well you work, or how beautiful you are. Stop it. Compliment yourself. Guess what? Those self compliments feel so good when they come from you because they're so authentic. Don't wait on compliments from others. Give yourself compliments, period. This next one is one of my favorites and one that I think I struggled with years ago, but I no longer struggle with this one. But this one is very, very important when you're talking about loving you. Stop comparing yourself to others. Matter of fact, don't compare yourself to others. Guess what? Others are not better than you. Guess what? Others are not worse than you. Guess what? Others are not more than you. Guess what? Others are not less than you. Guess what? It's called others are different than who you are. There is no two people in this world the same. Guess what? You have to value you for who you are. Don't compare what he or she is doing compared to what you are doing. When you are at a place in your life where you accept you for who you are, you won't have to compare you to no one. Cut it out. Be you, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Stop comparing you to someone else. Do you grow and evolve into the person that you need to be, the best version of you? Don't worry about others evolving and growing. Stop comparing yourself to others. You are you, they are they. Period. This next one, I think we should all take three deep breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I have to get you grounded for this one because I know many of you are turning the side eye going to turn the side eye once I say this. But this one is important. Ask for help. That is the self-loving thing to do. Ask for help. This one may push a few buttons. I may not be in your home, but I can hear some of you saying, "I'm not asking nobody for shit. I am not giving nobody a reason to talk about me." Asking them for anything. J Self Care, me, Janelle, is here to tell you that I want you to get comfortable with asking for help. If you have someone in your life that if you ask them for help and they talk about you, then you need to probably eliminate them from your circle. I'm just saying, if you need help, ask. Stop saying and feeling that if you ask for help, it will be thrown back in your face. Ask for help from your genuine people who really want to help you. Self care and self love is all about looking at the people you are around and evaluate if they need to be in your life. Ask for help. You can't do anything by yourself. One person did not build Rome. Believe you me, they were asking for help from each other. Ask for help when you need money to help you get through your bills. Ask for help when you need help with your mental health. Ask for help when you are short on food. Ask for help when you need help. I don't care what it is. Ask for help. Don't struggle alone. By me asking for help, I got my step and repeat. I got my logo. I got t-shirts. I asked. I even asked someone to proofread my work. I hired my spiritual guide. Matter of fact, I need a session. It's way overdue. I need help and I am going to ask for it. Point blank, period. There is no shame in my game and there should be no shame in your game. Ask for help. Our next one is be present. Sometimes we are so distracted with our past and other things going on in the world. We are also distracted with other people's situations. Be in the present, the present moment you are in right now. Appreciate this moment and be present in the moment. Just be present. Work on being here, not over there, not around the corner. Be present in this very moment. This next one is going to have me take my own advice. You ever heard people say you need to take your own advice? Well, I'm going to take my own advice on this one. Slow down. Okay, I myself need to slow down. Let me put that out there now. I need to take my own advice, like I said. I don't know if I'm moving too fast because I was raised in one of the biggest cities, that is New York. As many have heard, New York City never sleeps. Well, that saying is true. We are always hustling and bustling. Guess what? We need to slow down. We have to stop rushing the process. Everything is not a race. Try to pace yourself. Say to yourself, the world is not going to end if you don't complete a task. The world is not going to end if you don't complete a report. I have to tell myself when I'm going so fast, slow down, Janelle. JS Self Care isn't going nowhere. Slow down. What is for you will be for you. Just remember, slow down. And I know many people are always rushing. Slow down, but don't procrastinate. Slow down, think smart, and that way you can obtain anything you want in this world, but you got to slow down. I know I have to listen to that one too. This next one is so powerful. If you need to rewind it, rewind this episode. But what's important is know your strengths and use your strengths. We all have some gifts that we know we have, but we are afraid to use them. We have to stop allowing our strengths to go unnoticed. Focus on your strengths and use them. When you focus on your strengths and leave what others are doing, you will begin your rediscovery, your journey. When you focus on your strengths, you will increase your feelings for yourself. You will love you more. It's all about you and what are your strengths. Use your strengths to bring you out of whatever it is you're going through. Due to strengths, you have gotten through a lot of situations. Know your strengths and use them. When we're talking about loving ourselves, we need to do something really fun for ourselves. And that is give yourself a whole lot of treats, as many treats as you want. Yes, I said it. Give yourself treats because guess what? You deserve treats too. You deserve to enjoy your flowers while you are alive. Don't give yourself treats when you are doing good. You're not a dog. I know I give my dog treats when he does well. Give yourself treats just because you love you. You can give yourself treats like purchasing stocks. You can give yourself treats by even buying a candy bar. You can treat yourself to whatever it is you want. If you say you want it, treat yourself to it. Don't shorten yourself for someone else. Treat yourself. You're not a dog. You don't only have to get treats when you do something good. Just say F it and give yourself as many treats as you want. And if you want to eat a candy bar while you listening to this podcast, go right on ahead and get you a candy bar. Whatever it is you want, treat yourself. Our next one is very important. Be honest with you. Stop lying to yourself. If it's about you and you are lying about you, that means some self-care work needs to be done. Being honest with yourself is most definitely easier said than done. Some of us are so good with faking it that some of us won't even know that we are lying to ourselves. Don't be fake, be honest. It's obvious that you can't love your entire messy self. I'm talking about the messy part of you where you are lying and minimizing or making excuses. You can't love that part of you. True self love is all about taking responsibility for your stuff. You got to own up to your own shit. Be honest about it and correct you. Don't continue to believe your own eyes. Own your stuff and be honest with you. Get out of that fantasy world. We're not living in fantasy. Be honest and be true to you. Honesty is the key to success in all relationships, especially being honest with yourself. The most important relationship that you need to have is a relationship with you. And you don't want to lie to yourself. Be honest and stop lying to you. Next one is so important. You want to love you, then you need to forgive yourself. Self forgiveness is a process. It's all about believing you truly did your best you could in those situations you struggle with. Forgive yourself. The best way to work on self forgiveness is in a mirror. Just say, I forgive me for thinking I could be a parent on my own. I forgive me for loving the wrong person. I forgive me for messing up one of the best relationships because of jealousy. I forgive me for not loving me the way I know I should be loving me. Self forgiveness is hard, but it can be done. Every day when you're saying your words of affirmation or when you're having those times where you're having that self talk, talk to yourself and say, I forgive me for whatever it is. But if you want to truly love yourself, you have to forgive yourself for whatever it is that's holding you back from becoming the best version of you. I actually saved the best one for last. And this one is so freaking important. I want all my listeners to listen to this one. You talk about you love yourself. Well, here's one way you want to implement when you're loving yourself. Accept that some people won't like you. I said it. Accept that some people won't like you. Yeah, I said it. Accept that you are not going to be liked by the entire world. You're just not going to be liked by the entire world. You're not everyone's cup of tea. Don't waste your time wondering why people don't like you. Don't waste your time trying to please people whom are not willing to please you. You in the business of pleasing those who are willing to please you. You quit that other people pleasing job as of this podcast. Being yourself means one thing. You're going to have to give up on your people pleasing ways and replace it with your authentic self. Accept all those who don't like you. Be okay with people that don't like you. Keep it moving and be who you are. Nothing more, nothing less, but who you are. Except that you are not going to be liked by everyone in this world. You're just not everybody's cup of tea. And that is okay. Guess what? Make sure you tune in to part 2 of the Blueprint to Self Love on the next podcast episode. If anything in this podcast resonated with you and you want to continue the conversation, schedule a free consultation at jsselfcare.org. In the show notes, I will also include all of my links, so no worries. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for making a JS Self Care podcast part of your weekly routine. And I hope that you enjoy this episode.